Hi, guys. So we are starting a brand new unit of ancient Egyptian art. So ancient Egyptian art refers to art that was produced in ancient Egypt between the 31st century BC and 4th century AD. So BC means before Christ. For the people who know the name in Arabic, it's Isa. And 4th century AD, which means after Christ. It includes paintings, sculptures, drawings on papyrus. Papyrus was made by the ancient Egyptians, faience, jewelry, ivories, architecture, and other art media. It was also very conservative, which meant that the art style did not change much over time. So it's not that the subject matter was conservative, but it is more so that because there was not a lot of change made throughout the years, we can then say that it was conservative in its and not being able to change as much. All right, so Egyptian art is first and foremost very functional. No matter how beautiful a statue may have been crafted, its purpose was to serve as a home for a spirit or a god. So just so you know, the ancient Egyptians believed in many gods. They believed in the sun god. They also believed that the kings and royalty, specifically the king, was an actual human form of a god. So they worshiped him. It was different. And then they also believed in other gods. I'm going to post something on Teams that will show you some hieroglyphics because they also had ancient writing, which is called the hieroglyphics. All right, so art forms that were common in ancient Egypt were wall paintings, statues and carvings in life. And if the size was used to show a person's importance, and people were depicted in profile, and humans with animals and heads represented special qualities. So if we were to look at this over here, we can see that over here there is what looks to be a headdress of a bird, which is then we can say that that bird was probably not necessarily godlike, but it kind of represents godlike. This actually looks like a deity. This looks like the person is blue, a deity meaning a god. These are all these wonderful, fantastic hieroglyphics. This is a woman who could easily be a princess because she's also having a dress, or she might be a servant. If we look over here, we can see how one of the kings is being depicted. This is a sphinx, and it has the body of a lion. This is actually from a tomb, the outside part of one of the kings. And you can see how it's made with stone. If you were to see this in person, it would be enormous. It's very, very big, okay? Egyptian civilization, architecture, and tombs, the first royal tombs called mastabas were built at the Abdos during the first and second dynasty meaning kingdoms, right? They were marked with a stele inscribed with the king's names. So if we look at this picture closely, we can see how they have all those wonderful, probably talking about the king's life, interactions they may have had. These look like little drawers, and they are definitely hieroglyphics. And over there, you can see the sarcophagus. Over here, if we look over here, there's a lot of, in the stone itself, there are engravings of different scenes, again, hieroglyphics, which I will share with you, and statues, maybe possibly guarding the actual tomb. If we look at this, it says a sarcophagus. The word again is sarcophagus, is a box-like funeral receptacle for a corpse, most commonly carved in stone and usually displayed above ground, and though it may also be buried. I'm going to play a little bit of what they think is ancient Egyptian music so you can hear it, but just something to note. I'm going to put it from the beginning. So if we look at these different things of ancient Egypt, we notice that there is a lot of gold that's being used. We notice that the eye makeup, what we call kol, is decorative of the eye. So it's a sign of beauty. If you look at this, it looks like they have a lot of hair. Some of them used wigs. There's all these beautiful engravings here showing different scenes. Over here, the hair, this is clearly a headdress with her crown, and her face is gold. So you will see a lot of gold and turquoise throughout this. She's standing, and you can see all those wonderful birds. And over here as well, if we look at this, they're holding things. And when they buried the ancient Egyptians, not the common day person, obviously. They would bury them with a lot of their belongings. We talked about in class that if you were a king and your wife had not passed away, she might be killed just so that she could be buried with you, because the idea was that everything that was in your tomb would then be taken to the afterlife. Okay, we're going to look a little bit at some other ones. This one is pretty interesting. This is mostly like white and brown, but you can see how they also use earth tone colors. Something that I really want you guys to notice, and I'm going to scroll back up actually for you to take a look, is that ancient Egyptians were brown people. They were black people, right? They were brown people. So when you're thinking about coloring, this one is a lighter skin one, but for the most part, they are brown people. So when we look at Hollywood, Hollywood has whitewashed history and has made it seem that ancient Egyptians, because they were one of the civilizations that people really looked up to, not just in terms of their architecture, religion, money, and construction of the enormous pyramids. A lot of people in Hollywood whitewashed that and made the actors or the important roles being played by white people, but they are in fact brown people, black people, right? Egypt is in Africa. Okay, so we're scrolling down, we see a lot of gold. Over here, we look and there's also some of the like sort of white paint, and you could see like some of the, if we look close up, like different gods over there, right? A lot of scenes that could be talking about the person's life possibly. Over here, this one is clearly of a woman. And so the outside is how she may have looked, and inside we get a peek of how she could have looked, along with some writing, in ancient writing. And again, over there you see her headdress. Over here, there's some red, there's mostly turquoise and gold. And you can see there's a lot of that bird. I will share the images of some of their signs, and you can see like a person is serving a god over there. So we will be working with, it's difficult for me to actually share the actual drawings with you. I'll see if there's any way that I could drop it off, but I'm not sure how I could do that, but I will definitely share the images with you. I will be posting another video. I hope you found this interesting. Have an awesome day.